Thanks.
All right, thank you, Todd. I want to welcome everybody to the 380th meeting of the BRTB. The meeting will be recorded, and if anybody experiences any difficulties, please send a message in the chat. I'll ask the BRTB members turn on your cameras during the roll call for attendance as well as when you're voting. Rebecca Dybel to start the roll call and determine membership participation. Rebecca, could you please take the roll call?
Good morning, everyone. Annapolis. Sorry, is anyone here from Annapolis this morning? Anne Arundel County.
Here.
Thank you. Baltimore City. Baltimore County.
Here.
Thank you. Carroll County.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Baltimore City is here.
Oh, thanks so much. Harford County.
Here.
Howard County. Queen Anne's County.
Here.
MDOT.
Here.
Thank you. RTA of Central Maryland.
Here.
Thank you. MDOT MTA.
Present.
Thank you. Maryland Department of Environment.
Here.
Maryland Department of Planning. FHWA.
Present.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Rebecca. Our first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from both the November BRTB meeting. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes? If so, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Anne Arundel motions to approve.
Okay, Anne Arundel motions to approve. Can I have a second?
Second, Harford County.
Okay, Anne Arundel motion to approve. Harford County seconds. Are there any edits from any of the members? Okay, if not, we'll vote on the approval of the minutes. When your name's read, please indicate aye or nay. Rebecca?
Annapolis. Anne Arundel County.
Aye.
Baltimore City.
Aye.
Baltimore County.
Aye.
Carroll County.
Aye.
Harford County.
Aye.
Howard County. Anyone from Howard County? Queen Anne's County.
Aye.
MDOT.
Aye.
And RTA of Central Maryland.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. The minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is a public participation opportunity where we offer the public a chance to speak. If anybody has any comments on any of the action items, please wait till those items are being discussed. If there's anybody who wishes to address the board at this time, please indicate in the chat box. Todd, anybody asking to speak?
Mr. Chair, there was no one who requested to speak prior to the meeting, and I'm checking right now, and currently there is no member of the public requesting to speak in the chat box. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the report on public comments. We now ask for a report on public involvement activity from Ms. Monica Haynes-Benketta.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to present the report for December. I can't believe we're already here at the end of the year. Time flies when we're having so much planning fun. So the next slide. So again, this is we have an engagement hub called Your Region, Your Voice. And so we're going to share how we've been engaging. Next slide. So we're really excited. Yeah. So in November, we had a whopping over 9,500 folks visit the public input pages that we have. We had 55 folks participate, sharing 40 comments. We received 150 new subscribers, bringing us over 30,000 folks who are following the work that we're doing. We sent over 7,600 emails, and we had a 68.7% email open rate, which is significant. And we're great to see folks interested in the work we're doing. Next. So we're excited to share that we had a comment period and a community meeting on the Cherry Hill Phase 2 project. That's for the Patapsco Regional Greenway. We're working on what's called a 30% design for that project, and we're working with the community to make sure that the trail meets their needs and is in a place that will help serve them. So we did some surveys. We had a community meeting where over 20 folks showed up. We had close to 100 people participate and share comments online. So we're going to be taking all of that input into the alignments that were shared, the different pathways that were shared, and we'll be working on that and coming up with the preferred or the chosen pathway and sharing that out for Phase 3 in 2026. So stay tuned for that. And we've been out and about in the community. We've got staff that have participated. We had Anna Marshall, who is our one of our staff members. We hosted a Greater Washington Clean Cities Coalition meeting, and Anna shared key insights from the EV Community Charging Hubs Planning Guide. And so we've put that together to help communities that are planning for electric vehicle charging hubs. So we were happy to host that meeting and share with that group. We've also participated in Baltimore City GIS Day. We had several staff members, as you can see, participate down at Baltimore War Memorial. So we're really excited to share the work that we do on mapping data. It lets us to explore local trends and whatnot. So we have a whole website with our GIS work at baltometro.org/about-us/data-maps, and you can click on that QR code to access that. We are happy to share information. If you need access to data and maps, our team can help you. We were also part of the ITS Maryland annual meeting, which was part of the BRTB Traffic Signal Forum joint event on November 21st at the Maritime Conference Center in Linthicum. So a lot of transportation professionals came together to share their ideas, learn from each other on new and innovative ways that technology is coming together to help improve transportation. So that was an exciting event. We've also been out and about at different commission and professional meetings. I attend a lot of these at the Anne Arundel County Transportation Commission, also several Commission for Women's meetings that we've been attending, as well as some advisory committees such as for the MTA Citizens Advisory and the Howard County Bicycle Advisory Group. And we're still seeking volunteers for our transportation corps. Particularly, we're looking for folks from Annapolis, Anne Arundel, Carroll, Harford, Howard, and Queen Anne's County. So anyone who's interested can go to that website at yourregionyourvoice.org/core app or click on that QR code. So, looking ahead to 2026, we'll have a busy year. We're going to be sharing what's called Region Now, which will be our short-term transportation improvement program, and then looking to the future for Region Next, which will be our long-range transportation plan, which will be launching in 2026. Again, we'll also be out for the PRG Cherry Hill Phase 3, and we'll be launching another phase of the Patapsco Regional Greenway for the Henryton Road area, and that will be BRTB for the phase one will launch in the spring. We'll also be looking at doing other local projects and outreach in the community. And as always, stay tuned at yourregionyourvoice.org. And if anybody has any opportunities for us, any events where we should be at, or any projects we should know about, please let us know. And that's all I have. If you need to reach me, this is how you can reach me. If you have any questions, let me know.
Great. Thank you very much. Very busy month, and appreciate all the hard work. Anybody have any questions for Monica? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda item is the report from the technical committee. We now ask for a report on the December meeting of the technical committee from Miss Angie Daniel.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
The technical committee considered 4 resolutions for 5 project amendments to the TIP. The amendments were for Carroll Road Bridge over Carroll Branch project, MD 214 from MD 468 to Camp Letts Road, the South Entrance Trail project, the Reicherstown Plaza Metro Station, multimodal access project, and the Monroe Street ramp over CSX and Russell Street over CSX project. Presentations were made that provided information that allowed the tech committee to agree on sending the resolutions to BRTB for consideration and approval. Next, Foursquare ITP and tool design provided an update on work to create a scoring methodology for standalone active transportation projects for use in the long-range transportation plan. First, there was a summary of peer interviews conducted for the project with MPO staff in the Atlanta, Austin, Denver, Philadelphia, Columbus, and Dallas regions. The interviews focused on key policy questions related to scoring and integrating standalone active transportation projects into their respective LRTPs. The team also presented the proposed metrics for the active transportation scoring methodology. There was consideration of how active transportation projects fit into existing policy scores, given that sponsors may be unlikely to select active transportation projects as one of their as one of their 5 high priority projects. The remainder of the presentation focused on proposed metrics for the technical score. Next steps include finalizing the scoring framework, sharing the final scoring metrics and framework with the steering committee, creating a project submission form, and proposing supporting policy recommendations. BMC staff also provided an update on the progress of the coordinated human service transportation plan for the Baltimore region. The purpose of the plan is to identify the transportation needs of individuals with disabilities, seniors, and low-income individuals, develop strategies to meet the needs, and create a prioritization plan to implement the strategies. A summary of the needs assessment from the recent outreach events identified 4 major categories of need. They were expanded transportation services, improved and expanded marketing and outreach, affordability of transportation services, as well as improved coordination and connectivity. The next steps in the plan are to finalize the strategies and develop the prioritization plan. Members can review the documents and provide comments on the plan by visiting the project webpage. Lastly, BMC staff discussed the 2027 UPWP and will continue that discussion with the BRTB today. That concludes my report.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we now move on to one informational item, then we'll proceed to the action items. Todd, could you please introduce our speaker?
Thank you. Today we have the director of the University of Maryland Build America Center, who will address the board as to the research and technical services at the center. Dr. Kui, please share your screen. Okay, we can see. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. And it's a great pleasure to have an opportunity to speak to everyone. So, morning, everyone. So my name's just call me QC. So I'm a professor at University of Maryland here. I'm an engineer by training, but also I'm a professor of public policy. So I'm directing our Build America Center. So the Build America Center is founded by Federal Highway Administration to promote innovative financing and accelerate project delivery. Um, so Build America Center is um, it's a collaborative effort among 5 universities. Even the center housed at University of Maryland, but it's a collaboration among 5 universities, including Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, Purdue, and Stanford. They all serving as a regional center to cover the regions across the countries there. Um, Build America Center is also a partnership among academia, federal, state, local government, and also nonprofit and private organizations there. So we work closely with, especially those national associations there, and that's one of the reasons that even at the beginning that we were tasked by Federal Highway to promote innovative financing and accelerate project delivery. We also, because of our partnership among so many nonprofit organizations, so we have we can reach out local government and the Federal Highway and US DOT also task us like 3 years ago to continue help the IIJA implementation, especially support local government. They haven't been able to secure or applying for federal grants. And over the past 3 years, we are able to support the federal government by developing some of the system that you can see that the IIJA Launchpad. We also have that Grants Plus tool. So help the local government to get information on transportation related federal grants opportunities there. We also provide a direct technical assistance to local government from training workshop to webinars and also even full scale of grant application development there. We are able to work closely with so many local government across the country and help them to secure federal grants under the IIJA and there. We also develop some national standard, so that will basically adopted by the federal government and also the industry to move forward with, especially on the innovative financing and public-private partnership side there. So one tool that I just want to highlight here that many of you guys might be aware of this tool already, and there's a list on the US DOT, the DOT Navigator for a long time since the DOT Navigator has been released close to 30 years ago. And we have this IIJA Launchpad, which basically supplement the DOT Navigator, help the local government to identify the funding opportunity under the IIJA there. Currently, there are more than 10,000 users from local government or even private organizations. So they check the IIJA funding opportunity. And more important here is that we document also the award information, and also we compile some successful grant application package so that people can really learn from past successful stories here. So talking about direct technical support, and we work with many local government across the country there. So I saw that Sam is there. So we work together. We support Anne Arundel County before. We help city of Salisbury to win that Safety Street for All grant. We help Maryland Clean Energy Center to win that CFI, the EV charging station grant there. We help University of Maryland also win that $40 million low no emission grant to really replace the 40 shuttle buses on campus there. Not only the state of Maryland, but we work closely with local government across the country. You can see some of the examples here. Many of them that they are able to secure federal grants. And most of those local government, they continue to work with us when they saw the value that the BAC can provide and help them to develop the successful grant application there. Of course, we are funded by the US DOT and Federal Highway there. And so we provide the technical assistance directly to the local government at no cost. And what they typically will just do is working with us, and probably we help them to identify what are the best funding program that fit their project, and help them to develop a competitive applications there. Another tool that I just want to also highlight here is Grants Plus. We feel that as the IIJA funding approaching the end, and definitely local government still need to really consider all kinds of mechanism to accelerate their project delivery. That's the reason that we work with Federal Highway Administration closely to identify what are other federal resources available to support local government to accelerate their project delivery. And that's the reason that we compile this Grants Plus that help the local government identify, where they can match their the grant, federal grant or state grants there, how they can really leverage some innovative approach to accelerate project delivery. And what are those innovative financing mechanisms to help them to accelerate the project delivery using maybe value capture mechanism, all related there. So, and we are incorporating AI functionalities into the tool so that, the local government officials that can actually, accelerate their grant proposal application, and figured out the typical evaluation criteria that federal government has used to evaluate their grant application, and even ultimately that automate the grant application process. So that's all basically some of the tools that we developed, and especially for the local government who has limited experience, limited resources available to applying for federal grants or identify the innovative financing tools there. We did spend time to educate the local government across the country there. We organize all kinds of webinar or in-person workshop. We organize a symposium. And also we organize peer exchange and the cohorts. So one current effort that we're working with the National League of City, and we talk to the LLC there and identify what's the current needs for their member city and the town, and to really accelerate project delivery. So we're creating this. We're helping the National League of City to create a cohort so a selected city can actually get together and share experience, but focusing on the cost overrun there. So how we can use the innovative financing to address the cost overrun on their transportation project there. So many efforts that we organized. So a couple months ago, and we helped the state of Louisiana organize this rural transit summit there, and primarily focusing on the financing mechanism to make the rural transit viable and in the rural Louisiana and there. So many of those efforts that we work closely with the local government. And we also have a YouTube channel, and we interview more than 50 local officials who win the IAGA grant, and we interview them, ask them to share their successful story and how their grant make an impact on the local community there. So and then we created this kind of short video and trying to market their grant and also share their successful experience, so other local government can learn from such kind of exercise there. We are supporting several USDOT program, and especially the regional infrastructure accelerator, and we also support Montgomery County there. We help them to secure that regional infrastructure accelerator grant, and especially focus on the BRT project in Montgomery County there. And in addition to that, they did ask us also to support their grant implementation. So we are able to actually work closely with Montgomery County to develop, we basically call it value capture map, how you can really leverage the BRT project and create a value for the local community, and how you can really capture those value. So we're going to create this kind of value capture map especially on the Montgomery County BRT project there. And which also include the opportunity zone. So some of you guys probably not aware that even in Montgomery County, we have several opportunity zone, how we can use the opportunity zone financing to potentially help the BRT project implementation there. We also help the IFAC program within the USDOT Build America Bureau there. We're supporting their TIFIA and the RIF program. Especially many of the local government actually reach out to us before they actually reach out to Bureau to get potentially applying for the TIFIA loan. So we are probably the first to help them to identify their project eligibility and also how they can move forward on that TIFIA program, TIFIA application there. And one big effort that we support Federal Highway State Infrastructure Bank. So currently that we're supporting 4 states. And we just help the legislation recommendation for state of Nebraska to build the state infrastructure bank. So we'll work directly with Nebraska DOT, and they are pursuing innovative financing for transportation project in the state of Nebraska there. And we just help them to draft the first SIP legislation so that they can actually start the process there. We are also helping the state of Louisiana to start their state infrastructure bank. We work closely with governor's office to really develop the SIP legislation. So Massachusetts and also Connecticut also in the pipeline. So we are working closely to help them to develop the legislation and also launch the SIP programs within those states. And in addition to the authority there, but also we are helping all state infrastructure banks across the country to develop their standard of procedures. For example, one current work that we're working with the Federal Highway and also the SIP program across the country is the marketing playbook. So we're helping them to develop what are the best practice that you can market your SIP program and make sure that you can reach out the large number of the local government so that they can actually get educated about the value of innovative financing and pursue the innovative financing for their project delivery there. We are working with Federal Highway on the Gavi bond. I know that the Gavi bond, especially recent years, not very popular. So we're trying to see what are the value that Gavi bond can provide and how we can really leverage this mechanism to accelerate the project delivery there. So some other programs that we are supporting, but those are the key areas that we have been working closely with Federal Highway Administration and also Build America Bureau and other model administration there. So Build America Center is actually a partnership among federal government and also state government, local government, and also basically is with academia here. And we work closely with nonprofit organization and private organization so that we can really build a community leveraging the financing to deliver the project faster, better, and with quality, especially meet the local needs there. Here's my contact information there. If you have any needs, just reach out to me and I'll shoot me a email, and we are always available to support the county, cities, and local government within the state of Maryland. We're proud to support the local government in the state of Maryland. Thank you all. Any questions there?
Okay, any questions?
Not a question, but I just did want to thank the center because they do provide great assistance when it comes to reviewing applications and providing technical assistance. So thank you, QC. Appreciate it.
Sam, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I did have a question as a county jurisdiction. What's the first step to begin working with
So definitely reach out
the
to
Build
us.
America
Yeah.
Center? If we're a small county jurisdiction, we're interested. Yep. How's the best way to get
Yeah,
started working?
So there are different type of pathway. So the first, definitely you reach out to us, and at the beginning, 3 years ago, Sam, you probably know that I reach out to you. I send a cold email to you and saying that we can support you. So currently, that we just have so many right now. We're supporting across the country. So email us, and then we can start this conversation. That's number one. And second here is that depending on what kind of needs that local government had, and we have a different pathways. So let's say Georgetown in Texas reach out to us. So they have a pedestrian bridge project there. And then we help them to identify how they could actually identify the funding opportunity. So different type of grant opportunity that available. So we help them to define what exactly the program that they should target. And then we help them to, we inform them when the opportunity is available, and then we help them to develop the grant application package there. So that's one way that the local government has a specific project in their mind they want to pursue, and we help them to do that. Others like we have people from Harvard County there, so we support the grant application there too. The other is that the Harvard County that we work with the transportation office. I forgot exactly John, and also so basically we start with there's a broader needs, and we help them to define what are the funding program that we should really target overall at a county level, basically for the infrastructure needs there. So we help that to identify there's a different programs that target a different type of infrastructure needs, and that's basically a program level support. And some others like Louisiana, so will help the government office even for their statewide port infrastructure development plan. So we support them to really identify how they can really fund all the port infrastructure, and what are the federal and the state funding opportunity available so that they can target how they can really leverage financing to do this. So you can see that we will support at the individual project level. We'll also support at the program level, and even the SIB, State Infrastructure Bank. That's basically when we support Nebraska and the other states see they might have similar needs. And so they reach out. Three governors' office reach out to us to identify the possibility to move forward with their state infrastructure bank initiative there. So Steve, so just shoot me an email, and we will start this journey with you. And definitely, we basically will start, identify what's the need from your county there, and then we will try our best and leverage all the resources that are available to help local government there.
Appreciate that. You can expect an email.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions for QC? Okay. Thank you very much for being here today and sharing your information with us. It's very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you all very much.
Okay. Next on the agenda are our action items. Todd, could you please proceed with the action items?
Good morning. Today, the BRTB is going to consider 4 different resolutions that are on the agenda. To start, we're going to have Mr. Keith Kuchar kind of give an overview of the 5 different projects that are involved in these 4 resolutions. Keith, could you take?
Sure. Thanks, Todd. So as Todd mentioned, I'm going to introduce all 4 of the resolutions at once so we can kind of just roll through the presentations. There are a total of 5 projects included in the 4 resolutions. And as Ms. Daniel mentioned earlier, all 5 of these projects, all these 5 of these requested amendments were presented to the technical committee on December 2nd and all recommended to be sent to the BRTB. In resolution 26-14, Baltimore County is requesting to add 1 new project to the 2026 to 29 TIP, and that's the Carroll Road Bridge over Carroll Branch, and that will replace the existing single-lane bridge that collapsed in October with a new 2-lane bridge. The ICG has reviewed and determined this project to be not exempt due to the bridge widening, but because there's no capacity improvements, no conformity analysis is required. In resolution 26-15, MDOT SHA is requesting to add 1 previously included project, the Maryland 214 from Maryland 468 to Camp Letts Road, will be reinserted to add state funds for engineering and federal and state funds for right-of-way and utility relocations. The ICG has reviewed this amendment as well and determined this project to be not exempt as previously designated. However, since the project remained in the long-range plan, it was already accounted for in the modeling, and therefore no additional modeling or public comment period is required. The second SHA project is the South Entrance Trail. This is a new earmark project that adds $3.9 million in federal and matching funds for construction of a multi-purpose pathway in Howard County. Again, the ICG has reviewed this project and determined it to be exempt according to the conformity rule. In resolution 26-16, MDOT MTA is requesting to amend 1 project into the 2026-29 TIP, and that is the Reisterstown Plaza Metro Station multimodal access project, which is a preliminary design and environmental study for the metro station, excuse me, and will include complete streets and accessibility improvements. Again, the ICG has reviewed this project and determined it to be exempt according to the conformity rule. And finally, in resolution 26-17, Baltimore City is requesting to amend 1 project into the 26-29 TIP. The Monroe Street ramp over CSX and Russell Street over CSX project will replace both bridges that are currently carrying a poor rating. The ICG has reviewed and determined this project to be not exempt as well. However, since the project was modeled in the recent TIP that was approved in October, and there has been no scope changes, they determined that no new modeling or public review is required for this. And that is it. And I'll turn it back over to Todd. I believe he's going to introduce each of the speakers.
Yes, thank you so much, Keith. As Keith had mentioned, now we are going to hear from each of the sponsors and we're going to vote on each of the resolutions individually. So we will start with today, the BRTB is being asked to consider resolution 26-14. This TIP amendment again was requested by Baltimore County for a new project, and Mr. Nicholas Smith will introduce the project. Nick, could you take it away, please?
Good morning, Todd. So as Keith said, this is for the Carroll Road Bridge over Carroll Branch. This was a wrought iron truss bridge built in 1879 originally. It was damaged by a falling tree in October of this year, leading to a collapse later that day. And the resulting detour due to that is about 8 miles long. Next slide. The estimated total cost for this project is $4.675 million. We do have a draft letter of approval from SHA for the Highway Infrastructure Program funding. That letter does only cover the preliminary design, which is estimated at $750,000. And that covers 100% of the cost. There's no county match for that. And here we have the timeline that we have estimated for the design. So we expect the preliminary design to be completed in 2027, final design in 28, right away finished up in 29, and then construction completing in 2031. And there's my information if anyone has any further questions about it after this.
Thank you. As was mentioned, the technical committee has recommended approval of this resolution, and we now ask the BRTB to consider resolution 26-14. Mr. Chair?
Okay, thank you. Does any member have any questions or comments on the proposed project? Okay, do we have any questions or comments from the public on the proposed project?
Mr. Chair, currently there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box on this resolution.
Okay, then can we have a motion to approve the resolution?
Baltimore County will motion to move it.
Okay, can we have a second?
Anne Arundel second.
Okay, Baltimore County motions to approve, Anne Arundel County seconds. When your name is read, please indicate aye or nay in support of the amendment. Rebecca?
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Hopefully Baltimore County.
Finished with everything.
I'm sorry? Baltimore County,
Yay.
Sorry.
Carroll County,
Yay.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County, Queen Anne's County,
Yay.
MDOT,
Yay.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Today, we're now moving on to resolution 26-15. The State Highway Administration is going to introduce two different projects. Mr. Joe Lombardo is going to introduce those projects. Joe, could you take it away?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. So yes, this is to add funding for Maryland 214 from Maryland 468 to Camplets Road in the FY 26-29 TIP, and it's to add funding for design, right-of-way, and utility phases of the project. And we can go to the next slide. So yeah, this project adds travel lanes in each direction from 2 to 4, a shared use path along MD 214, and a roundabout at Lock Haven Road. It also includes improvements such as intersection improvements at Maryland 468 and Lock Haven Road, culvert replacements, stream relocation, guardrail upgrades, drainage improvements, stormwater management, traffic signs, pavement markings, lighting, and landscaping. Go to the next one. And so yeah, for the financials here, this adds the project back into the TIP. It was previously in the 24-27 TIP. So as I said before, it adds the state will add, the project will add state-funded engineering only in addition to right-of-way utilities funding using the NHPP funds, which is an 80-20 split. So for the design, it's 1.8 million. For the state, it's 1.8. Right-of-way, it's 3.45 million, and then broken down between federal, which is 2.7, then state is 750,000, and utilities is a total of 1.6. That's divided between federal 1.28 and state at 355,000. Go to the next slide. And for the south entrance trail, so this adds project. This is a new project due to an award of an earmark in 26-29 TIP. So it adds new funding for construction phase of the project. The engineering was previously funded through two separate bikeways awards and matching county funds in 2015 and 2018 to Howard County. Go next slide. So this includes construction of a multi-use path from South Entrance Road to Broken Land Parkway, Stevens Forest Road, as well as a project ensures bicycle safety and pedestrian travel. For the next slide, the amendment will add a new project with construction funding using HIP funds, which is also an 80-20 split. So for construction, it's a total of 3.9 million. That's 3 million federal, 900,000 for local match. Next slide. Yeah, that's all, folks.
Great. With that, we do ask the BRTB to consider resolution 26-15 for these two projects sponsored by State Highway Administration. Turn it back to the chair.
Okay, thank you. Does any member of the BRTB have any questions or comments on the proposed project? Okay, hearing none, we now ask if any member of the public has any questions or comments on the proposed project. And for those online, please indicate you would like to comment in the chat box. Todd, do we have anybody commenting?
Mr. Chair, currently we do not have anyone requesting to speak in the chat box.
Okay, then we'll move forward with the vote.
Actually, Mr. Chair, is there any way we could get a first and a second on this? I apologize.
Can we get a motion to approve the amendment?
Baltimore City motion to approve.
Okay,
Anne Arundel seconds.
Baltimore City and Anne Arundel. When your name is read, please indicate aye or nay in support of the amendment. Rebecca?
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County.
Yay.
Thank you. Carroll County,
Aye.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County, Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT,
Yay.
and RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
Great, thanks.
Okay,
The
the motion is passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Now we'll move on to resolution 26-17. Today, the BRTB is being asked to consider this resolution coming from the Maryland Transit Administration. We now ask, let's see, 26-16, I apologize. Again, this is from MTA, and Mr. Albert Guinea Engel is going to do the presentation. Albert, are you available?
Yep. Good morning, everybody. So just a little bit of background. In 2024, MDOT and MTA produced a station area TOD vision plan for the Reisterstown Plaza station that specifically called for station area access and transit improvements, direct connections, transit enhancements, and mobility hub and shared use paths, as well as complete streets and accessibility improvements around the station, pedestrian safety, connections to and from destinations around the area. And so go to the next slide, please. This specific project is for preliminary design and study for the Reisterstown Plaza Metro Station transit-oriented development. This study is also going to include the complete streets and accessibility improvements between the station, proposed TOD, and existing transportation facilities in the area. Specifically looking to identify safety and accessibility improvements at and around the Reisterstown Plaza Metro Station, with the goal being for these safety and accessibility to support TOD, encourage mode shift to transit, and increase transit ridership overall. This specific amendment will add the project to the FY 26-29 TIP. It had been amended into a previous TIP, but the grant funding did not get executed in 2025 as we had anticipated. So this amendment will functionally shift 4.691 million in raised discretionary grant funding for planning to fiscal 26, which is the correct year of obligation, and that 4.691 is the estimated total cost. So this just highlights the changes. Which is all the money is new, and it's all federal. There's no state match for this grant. And that's it. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. We'll turn it back to the chair to consider now Resolution 26-16 for Maryland Transit Administration, asking for a first and a second, but I'll turn it back to the chair. Thanks.
Okay, any member have any, or can we have a motion to approve?
Anne Arundel motions to approve.
Okay, and a second?
Hartford County
City
seconds.
Okay, we have Anne Arundel County to approve and Hartford County second. Does any member of the BRTB have any questions or comments on the proposed amendment? Any member of the public have any questions on the proposed amendment? And if you're online, please indicate you'd like to comment in the chat box. Todd, do we have anybody wishing to comment?
Mr. Chair, currently there is no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
Okay, so we'll move forward with the vote. When your name is read, please indicate aye or nay in support of the amendment. Rebecca?
Thank you. Annapolis. Anne Arundel County.
Yay.
Baltimore City.
Yay.
Baltimore County.
Yay.
Carroll County.
Aye.
Hartford County.
Yay.
Howard County. Queen Anne's County.
Aye.
And MDOT.
Yay.
RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
Thank you.
Okay, the motion passed. Next item, Todd?
Yes, finally, we are at Resolution 26-17 for consideration by the BRTB. Baltimore City will introduce this amendment for an existing project. I believe we have Mr. Scott Weaver online who will take it away. Scott?
Good morning. Thank you all for your consideration. This is two bridges here. One's carrying a ramp, the other's carrying mainline Russell Street. As everyone in the state of Maryland knows, Russell Street's a very major city in Baltimore. It connects essentially Washington, D.C. to our nation's capital, to Baltimore City. Just north of this, it serves carrier vehicles to and from the M&T Bank Stadium, Oriole Park at Camden Yards, Maryland Shock Trauma Center, Fortune Casino. The ramp receives traffic from two locations, Monroe Street and from the I-95 southbound exit to Maryland 295 South. So two very major structures for the city of Baltimore. Unfortunately, both are in poor condition and require replacement. We've worked with CSX for years to develop these plans and to replace them. This project did receive a federal earmark. We hope to advertise it for construction in 2026, but of course we need to add it to the tip. We do that. We were unable to advertise it in the 2025 tip due to delays with CSX Railroad. But there are drainage problems, obviously, in the area as well. We've had to make multiple repairs. We will also be doing improvements to geometry. Traffic coming off of I-95 ramp onto this bridge has a history of trucks overturning and going actually over top of the parapet and falling down the railroad tracks. We hope to improve the geometry to lessen this occurrence because obviously there's unfortunately one person did lose his life, and with the damage and everything else, it's a problem we need to fix. And that's like this. As I stated, both projects complete replacement. Pavement beyond, obviously to smooth it out because the pavement is needed some work. Maintenance of traffic, obviously with being mainline Russell Street and with the ramp receiving traffic from I-95, we are unable to close it during construction, so there will be phased construction. There will be no changes to the vertical profiles or anything like that, but we will be changing the horizontal line to improve those issues on the ramp. The final design is complete actually now. We want to advertise it in 2026. Construction start. About 2.5 years, 2.5 to 3 years. New bridges, obviously, 75-year lifespan, wider shoulders, better sight distances, and like I said, 5221, which is the ramp bridge, will be wider for the drivers. Project manager for this is Mr. Tony Grant. He's on vacation, so I'm coming in for him. But any questions, please let Tony or I know. Thank you for consideration.
Great, thank you so much. Again, we're turning this back to the BRTB for consideration of Resolution 26-17. Mr. Chair?
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve?
Harford County motions.
Okay, Hartford makes a motion to approve. Can we have a second?
Baltimore County will second.
Okay, Baltimore County will second. Now, any discussion? Does any member of the BRTB have any questions or comments on the project? We now ask if any member of the public has any questions or comments on the resolutions. For those online, please indicate you would like to comment in the chat box. Todd, anybody wishing to comment?
Chair and board, currently there's no one requesting to speak in the chat box.
Okay, with no comments or discussion, we'll move forward with the vote. When your name is read, please indicate aye or nay in support of the amendment. Rebecca?
Annapolis, Anne Arundel County,
Yay.
Baltimore City,
Yay.
Baltimore County,
Yay.
Carroll County,
Aye.
Harford County,
Yay.
Howard County, Queen Anne's County,
Aye.
MDOT.
Aye.
Thank you. RTA of Central Maryland.
Yay.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Resolution passes, and that concludes our action items on the agenda. Next item on the agenda, we have a presentation. Today, the BRTB will be briefed by TAM's Executive Director, Mr. John DeKluski, on training activities that the BRTB helps support. John?
So much.
Thank you for being here.
Well, good morning, everyone, and very grateful for the opportunity to explain a bit, and of course also to thank the BMC for the extraordinary progress we've been able to make over the 3 years that we have been partners in training. So just a little bit about us.
Sorry to interrupt, John, but I believe you're in presentation mode. If there's any way you could just duplicate your screen.
My apologies. I'm usually hosting other people and not myself.
That's all right. And if you're having issues, please let me know. I can certainly pull up the slides from our side.
I think I've got it now. Let me just share my screen.
Okay.
Does that work?
I think it's working now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the slight delay there. So a little bit about TAM. We have 131 dues-paying member organizations, of which the Baltimore Metropolitan Council is one. We are headquartered just about outside of the airport here in Linthicum. This has been our 40th year of official establishment. We have 2 full-time staff and 3 part-time and contracted staff, though a lot of our work is also done with the assistance of volunteers who represent really the whole transit industry in Maryland. Our mission is to strengthen community transportation through advocacy and professional development. Our advocacy takes the form of government affairs advocacy, which we undertake both in DC at the federal level in partnership with our sister associations in other states and nationally, and also our work down in Annapolis every year. One of our major events coming up, our legislative reception on January the 22nd, sort of kicks off our advocacy season, and we see ourselves as providing a voice and a representation to community transit in Maryland for those who cannot always speak for themselves. We also do a lot of training. We host major training events at least every month. Some of these are virtual, but a lot of these are in person. And we are proud to say that we represent every single nonprofit and state recipient of federal funding plus more. So every transit agency, every nonprofit that receives 5310 grant funding, about 60 vendors, both based here in Maryland and those nationwide, are all members of the Transportation Association of Maryland. So the main thing I'm here to talk about today is the partnership that we formed with the BMC back in 2023. The agreement was that $50,000 in funding would be passed through the BMC to TAM in order to fund our training activities for our members. All of the trainings that we host under this contract that are covered under the grant, we pre-approve for price, content, and audience. And I'll go into a bit more detail into how we select and choose the trainings in a bit. So just an idea of what TAM does. This is a summary of our training hours over the past 6 years. So in 2020, really, and part of that is cut off with the pandemic, we had 8,600 training hours per year for our members. This year, we are pleased that we have just over 13,000. So about close to a 50% increase over this period of time. And we have by far fully recovered from the little dip we had during the pandemic. And a lot of that growth is due to the partnership that we have through this grant contract. One of the things we want to make sure when we are choosing our training topics for our members is that we are actually meeting what they need. And so just to give you an idea of some of the topics that have been identified through our member surveys that are of most critical need for our members that we can help to provide both through our own efforts and in partnership with the BMC funding are safety, security, and emergency management. That's a wide array of items there. Safety can mean anything from emergency preparedness. What do you do in the event of a fire on a bus? Bus evacuation procedures. These are all things that some of them we're considering very heavily doing for 2026. System planning and strategic investment. We've had some excellent courses on those in the last couple of years I'd like to talk about. Public communication, both with stakeholders in the community, learning how to talk to public officials, policies and procedures and compliance. Those really go together a lot for our members, especially for some of the smaller agencies. They just don't have the resources that they would like to have in order to have someone working full-time on just making sure that they remain fully in compliance with all of their grant requirements. And so TAM is honored and pleased to be able to provide assistance to our members by giving them best practices on creating good policies and procedures and making sure that in every way they are in full compliance with all their grant partners. And finally, supervisor and management training. Turnover in our industry is constant, and I'm proud and pleased to say that one of the unique features of the transit industry is that so many of the people who wind up in top supervisory and leadership roles, they begin as drivers, as dispatchers, and they work their way up through the system, which of course creates a need for assisting in transitioning these people from an operations standpoint into a management and then eventually a leadership point. And we try to provide that through our professional development offerings. I'm going to highlight 3 of those particular trainings, and these are all trainings that were paid for through the BMC grant. So some of you may have heard of Jarrett Walker and Associates. We were pleased to be able to host their training at both our 2024 and our 2025 conference. So that image there is just a little snapshot of what went on during that. They had a fictional city named Farmville, and their task was, with limited resources, how would you create and plan a transit network both for that city and then eventually for the larger rural community that surrounds it. And having been through this myself, I will say that I have never been through, and I don't think we've ever put on a better training than this in terms of being able to show people from first principles why it is so difficult to create a truly responsive, and weighing the balance between coverage and speed and realizing that you can't do everything. So really drilling down on what your priorities are. A couple of the quotes we've had in our surveys after this: awesome, clear and engaging, best course I've ever been on, showed me more than any other training. And this really fills in that system design requirement that our members have really been asking for. We've also, through this grant, we've been able to really establish TAM as a center for getting our members certified. So there's really the 3 top ones that we like to offer on sort of a rotating basis. Our goal is to have every single agency in Maryland should have at least one person on their staff who is a certified community manager, a certified transit supervisor, and a safety and security officer. I'm pleased that I've been through all of these trainings myself. This year alone, we have hosted transit manager and transit supervisor training. We plan on doing safety and security officer next year. These are the gold standard of trainings in this country. Normally, in order to get these trainings, you would have to travel to wherever the CTAA conference is coming up. It's in Omaha. Many agencies simply don't have the travel budget or the training budget in order to be able to do that. And so it's our pleasure that we've been able to really, I think almost more than any other state, the level of certification in our community has to be, among the highest. And finally, one of the things I'm most excited about is something that is forthcoming, but will be showing up in just under 2 months. We have created an all-Maryland curriculum, which we call the Master Trainer Program. One of the difficulties with any training we put on is not everyone in the agency can come, especially for smaller agencies. You just can't afford to have that many people out of your office. And so what we've created is the idea of certifying people at agencies who are in charge of training and professional development as master trainers. So this is talking about adult learning, not how do you train someone to secure a wheelchair, but how do you train an adult at all, especially an adult who may have been in the transit industry for decades, longer than you have, who's often older than you, who has their own way of doing things that has to be respected and understood through the training process. And the goal of this is, again, we want every TAM member to have a master trainer on staff so that those master trainers can come to the other training offerings we have and be able to act as a multiplier in getting those trainings filtered down. So we don't just train one person in conflict avoidance and dealing with problem passengers. By training that one person, we know that we're going to train everyone at that agency when they put on this training for their own people. And that's coming up in February. Thanks again to the assistance provided by the BMC. That's just the tip of the iceberg. These are all trainings that were approved through and funded through the BMC. Some of them are this year, some of them were last year. New supervisor workshop, accident reporting, customer de-escalation, policies and procedures, ADA workshop, transit marketing, operator fatigue, violence in the workplace, contractor management, customer-driven service, financial management for transit agencies, recruitment, selection, hiring, HR for transit professionals, creating a safety culture, presenting for transit professionals, and understanding employee value. And that is not half of the full trainings that we have hosted. We do have plans for future growth. As I said, we've sort of set up a system where all of our certifications are offered on a rotating 3-year basis to ensure that as someone leaves an agency with these certifications, this next person's able to come in and get certified. We're going to be developing a Transit 101 track at our annual conference, and this will be a special one-day event that is intended for people who are either new to supervisory positions or who are new to the transit industry itself, but have just been sort of thrust into a management or leadership role, and is intended really to hit those basic items of compliance with state and federal law, the basics of transit finance, the basics of transit design, and really sort of help to give them a jump start on their career in our industry. We want to continue to hit our major priorities that we've identified in our recent survey. Amongst those are, we're going to do sessions on procedures and documentation, a focus on workforce development, routing and logistics, and finally, really looking at the perils and the possibilities of AI, machine learning, and algorithmic work in terms of designing a transit system. And finally, really creating a Maryland-focused curriculum in compliance. That is, being able to have trainers and programs that are not just, well, how do we comply with the ADA, which we do and is important, but also how do we comply with what our friends at MDOT and what the state government is requiring us to do and how that changes over time. In 2026, just to give you a snapshot of what we're looking for, our winter series, registration for that is open. That's our virtual series of courses that we do every January and February. Every March, we do some version of wheelchair securement, or as we often call it, advanced mobility device securement. And we often pair that with passenger sensitivity for persons with disabilities. We're going to have our second maintenance forum, and this is a special training event that is targeted just towards mechanics and maintenance personnel. Our spring general meeting is in May. We're planning on that safety and security officer workshop in June. Some other trainings that are to be determined through July and August. Our fall conference with that Transit 101 track will be in September. We're going to look to bring back transit network design in October, a big session on procurement in November, and then our training committee will work to establish what we're going to do for December. How we plan. So TAM is blessed to have a very active training committee, which I believe represents sort of the wide swath of our transit community here. We are chaired by a nonprofit, as TAM is, but we also have transit agencies. There are representatives from the MTA and a representative from the BMC. So really, we're hitting all of our slots here. We regularly survey our members. Every conference, as the largest gathering of transit people in Maryland, we do a big training survey, and that really forms our planning for the year after that. But in addition to that, we have our member visits and discussions. I know I work to visit other states' trainings and try to take back best practices from there. And I'm pleased to say that in those surveys, the overall training satisfaction from our members is a 4.8 out of 5. So we certainly hope that we will be able to continue working with the BMC in this program. It really has transformed what we've been able to do, not just in terms of doing more training, but in terms of greatly improving the quality of training that we're able to do. More certifications, more big events. We could never have thought of bringing in Jarrett Walker to do transit network design 5 years ago, and now we're looking to do it every year. We're able to provide low or no cost trainings available that if our members were to go out and get these on their own, it would be many thousands of dollars for them individually. And we're able to create these permanent rotations. Previously, often our stuff was ad hoc. We might go 5 or 6 years between being able to host a training, and that's an eternity in the transit world. So one of the things we've been able to do is really make it much more regular. And that's it. That's TAM. That's our work we do with the BMC. That's our training committee. We're very proud of what we've done. We know that there's a lot more for us to do, and we're very grateful for the opportunity.
Great. Thank you very much. A lot of hard work and a lot of information right there. We appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions for John while we have him here, or questions on the presentation? Okay, hearing none, thank you very much for the presentation.
Mhm.
Take care. Next on the item is a presentation of fiscal year 2027 UPWP. Now we're going to hear about and discuss topics for consideration in the FY 2027 UPWP. Mr. Lang will lead us in that discussion. Todd.
Thank
Before
you.
moving forward, Mr. Chair, I did want to compliment TAM on their efforts, and as the legislative chair, they're really active in advocating for transit-related issues as we enter into session. I encourage any of the partners, if you're not already doing this, to partner with TAM on any issues you may want to advocate forward in this coming calendar year. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you. Again, yeah, we do appreciate our partnership with TAM, and thank you, John, for attending and talking about all the work, this great work that's being done there. This is perfect segue because we're starting to focus on the next development of what we call our planning budget. The technical term for it in the federal language is our Unified Planning Work Program, but again, we like to make it a little bit more approachable, so we call it our planning budget. This is the time period when we normally talk about some of the activities that the board members would like us to focus on. I'm going to show a timeline here. We do this normally at the end of the calendar year. It really kicks off at the AMPO annual conference, where we look at what other regions are doing throughout the country, see whether or not they make sense to kind of bring them back here to the Baltimore region. We talk about it at the technical committee on a regular basis every month. We had a presentation just a couple of weeks ago on some potential topics that we're going to go through today. What this all leads up to is the February technical committee, where we present a draft planning budget. In this term, it's actually an addendum to the existing Unified Planning Work Programs. This is the second year. It's mainly a budget year. We then release it for a 30-day public comment period, and in the April period, we present it to the technical committee and then to the elected official meeting of the Regional Transportation Board, where they adopt it. We submit it to our federal partners, and then we start preparing local contracts, and the money becomes available July 1st of 2026. So today, I'd like to just talk about some of the topics that have been suggested. These have come from board members, local jurisdictions, state agencies. They've also come from some of our subcommittees of the Regional Transportation Board, and then also from staff members in individual conversations. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the slide, actually, because we just talked about one of those programs. We have some ongoing tasks that we would like the board to consider some potential funding for. Last month, there was a presentation on the signal infrastructure assessment, where there was a pilot done on a number of intersections looking at signal inspections. Again, there's about 1,200 signals, if our understanding is correct, in the Baltimore region. In the pilot, there really was a small percentage of those that were done, and we want the board to consider whether or not on an ongoing basis we should fund a number of signal infrastructure assessments and inspections moving forward. Then there is the lot skills and technology support. That's our partnership with TAM. Again, we think it's a great partnership, and we would like the board to continue it if possible. We have our Transportation Land Use Connection grants that we know are very popular. There is also the Transportation Planning Institute, which is an online training program with AMPO. We understand there's going to be some new courses and some refreshed courses on that platform. So we're going to do a presentation for the tech committee, make sure everyone knows how to access that. And then last year, we started a program where we were updating local bicycle plans per the Bikeable Baltimore Region project. Again, this is kind of grant funding to try to make sure that our local bike plans are kind of up to date and then kind of match in with the regional aspects of the BBR project. So beyond that, there's been a number of different potential projects that have come up. What we're going to do is I'm going to run through them pretty quickly, and then we're going to be putting out a survey of all the members to see which projects you think are the most worthy for the upcoming planning budget. And then also if there are any additional topics you think should be considered within the work program. So these are done in alphabetical order. So again, we're going to have you sort them and identify which ones you think are most important. There was a suggestion for some ADA training of local staff, including the potential for ADA immersive experiences. One of these was done at the local CAP site or Capital Area ITE meeting, and we thought it might be an interesting for local jurisdictions to staff to get some training and some of these immersive experiences. I mentioned the Baltimore Bike Bowl Region project. There were some suggestions out of that presentation just a couple months ago for follow-up projects, including uniform design standards and consistency checklists, and then also some preliminary design of some high-priority BBR network segments. So in the past, we had been doing 30% designs on the Patapsco Regional Greenway. This would kind of be a continuation of that, but then focusing on other areas of the regional network. Another project that is being discussed is BRT readiness. Again, there's some successful projects that are going on in the state and the greater Mid-Atlantic area. We think that it might be interesting to talk about what type of corridors and how you would identify the types of service and the applicability of different corridors for things like center running, mixed traffic, or dedicated lane applications for bus rapid transit. There was a suggestion for a position to look at cross-jurisdictional planning coordination. Again, a lot of different work going on in different jurisdictions that actually relate to areas just over your border. So what this position would do would look at not only transportation projects, but also then potential major developments in things like traffic impact studies, but then also looking to try to make sure that each of your jurisdictions is aware of what's happening just over the line and how it may impact your transportation system, but then also your planning. Something we just heard in the news very recently was the talk about driverless taxis. There was a suggestion for a project where we would try to map out for local jurisdictions in terms of what experiences other jurisdictions have seen when driverless taxis come to their town. And then also the potential for automated delivery vehicles. Again, we heard places like Amazon are proposing this. What we want to do is make sure that you're ready for them, both in terms of potential infrastructure impacts, but then also regulatory impacts, so that when these come to your local jurisdiction, you're prepared, you understand kind of the lessons learned from other jurisdictions where these things are happening. There's a potential project for enhancing local transportation public engagement. We know of some great practices that are happening at our local jurisdictions, and this is the potential to kind of highlight those, but then also kind of give your local staff additional tools to try to do additional public engagement. There's a potential for expanded safety audits throughout the region. We know some great work's being done, especially in Howard County, where they don't just bring the transportation engineers to the safety audits, but additional partners who can bring kind of new insight into some of these different corridors. Then there's our partnership with the state and the Vision Zero Commission, and then discussion potentially about speed limits and how they impact different types of crashes that we're seeing in the region, and trying to understand that a little bit better. We've been talking about an update to the household travel survey for a couple of years. The last one was done in 2018 and 19. Of course, that was pre-pandemic, and we know that travel has definitely changed. So we're talking to the state about a potential partnership, again, for a statewide travel survey where we could then build that into our travel demand model, but then also understand kind of how travel characteristics have changed since the pandemic. One of the topics that has come up is inland flood analysis. Again, this is based on new mapping that's being done at the environmental agencies. What this is looking at is urban flooding versus your normal river flooding. And then things like nuisance flooding, which we are seeing much more incidences at our local jurisdictions, trying to prepare your departments of transportation and public works for how to try to both predict those and then react to those. There's a lot of talk going on at the state through the Commission for the Potential Reorganization of the Maryland Transit Administration, looking at different types of oversight boards or different types of authorities. There's been a lot of kind of discussion about some of the oversight boards, but one of the suggestions was to look at different types of rail authorities, what types of powers they might have, how you might be able to raise different type of funding for these different types of authorities. And this isn't necessarily just the larger systems like MARC, but then also the other types of rail infrastructure that happens at our local jurisdictions. Then there's another suggestion for things like additional study on transit-oriented development and land use. Also some suggestions for transportation demand management and whether or not we could partner more with the state and with our local jurisdictions to try to get the word out and to get more people engaged in TDM. So that is a long list, but what we would like our members to do is we will be sending out a survey. We would like you to kind of rank which ones of these you think are most important for the BRTB planning budget. Also, if there are additional topics that you think would be important, please add those in. Again, we're shooting for a February technical committee draft planning budget. So again, we'd like to try to get something firmed up in the January period. With that, I'm going to just flash my name, but hopefully everyone knows how to get in contact with me, but be looking on your email for an upcoming survey over the holiday period, thinking about what our next planning budget should look like. I will turn it back to the chair to handle any potential questions. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Any questions for Todd on the 2027 UPWP topics or the upcoming survey? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on with the agenda. The next item is other business. Todd, do we have any other remaining business to come before the BRTB?
Mr. Chair, currently we don't have any additional business for the board.
Okay. The next meeting of the BRTB will be January 27th, 2026, and that's an in-person meeting. So, it will be there in person instead of virtual. So please mark that on your calendars. Does anybody else have anything before we close the meeting? Okay, if not, I'll call for a vote to close the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a happy holidays and see you next year.
Thanks. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board. Everyone have a good one. Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Thank you.